Okay, let's move on with our discussion of blend modes. Now, in the last video, I left off at darken color, and darker color, and I'm still using that exact same file. So if you're wondering where these crazy paintbrush strokes came from, they're from the previous video. So moving down to lighten. This entire group of blend modes is always going to give you a lighter result color, so just keep that in mind, if it gives you a result color at all, and we'll get to that when we get down to lighter color. But generally, the idea here is that you want whatever comes out of this to be a lighter version. Now, lighten is going to choose either the base color or the blend color, whichever is lighter, and then whichever of those two colors happens to be lighter, it will use and it'll give you a lighter version of that to replace the opposite. So if the blend color is lighter, you're going to get a lighter version of the blend color that will replace the base color. Let me go ahead and show you. So if we switch over to lighten, check it out. You can see right here, we get a lighter version of that green replacing the red of the base color. Now in this case, however, the base color is actually lighter, and so we're getting a lighter version of the base color, just barely visible right here at the blue paintbrush stroke. Now, if these two colors look really close, like the green that is here right now and the green that was there at normal, look very closely, it is just a little bit darker, but the shading in between these two is relatively close, so you're not going to see a dramatic change, but you can see how green is being selected from the two. All right, moving down from here, we have screen. Screen is always going to lighten your result, and the color black is going to be useless in this blend mode. So I have my paintbrush active. I can hit the D key to make sure I'm painting with black, and if I come over here to the corner and I just scribble around for a moment, it looks like nothing's coming out of my paintbrush. However, you can actually see there's a little tiny black smudge that appeared in my layer thumbnail. And if I go back over to normal mode, we can see that black was really being put down. So I could paint a little more so you could actually see that. But when I switch over to screen mode, we get nothing. Now, screen mode is pretty fancy. I use it quite a bit for lightening things. It also works for very cool glow effects when you have to paint glows by hand. And I don't necessarily want to digress, but it's one of those things where I just, if something's really cool, I feel it's worthy of showing you. So I'm going to hit Control-N, create a brand new document, and as fast as I can, I'm going to fill this with black. I'm going to do that with Alt-Delete to fill with the foreground color. I will drop down a layer. Now check this out. I'm going to set my foreground color to some shade of orange, like so. I'm going to take my brush and I'm going to pull the opacity of it way down, and then I'll take the blend mode and set it over to screen so that each brush stroke is being blended using the screen method. Now instead of the colors just ending up at that shade of orange that I selected, you'll notice as I lay down progressively more strokes that the result is getting lighter and lighter and lighter. Now I'm going to shrink down and start filling in kind of a core area. And so we get this really cool kind of glow effect, which I can make really big, like so. So anyway, I know that's kind of a digression, but I just wanted to show you how awesome screen is, so by all means play with that. Again, it's always going to give you a lighter result. Let me go ahead and set my brush settings back over to where they should be, because if I don't, I'll forget. So opacity back up to 100%, and blend mode back over to normal, and I'll shrink my brush down as soon as I get focused back on my document. Okay, so there's a quick look at screen. Now, color dodge is going to be our next blend mode available. And what color dodge is going to do is brighten the base color by decreasing the contrast between the base and the blend. So it's really kind of subtle. It's one of those things where at least in my case, and I realize this may sound bad, I'm really sorry, but I can read that all day, or I can hear somebody tell me that that's how it works. But in the end, I'll just kind of choose between either color dodge or linear dodge. And really the difference in between the two is that color dodge is going to be lowering the contrast, where linear dodge is really just adding the result of the two together. So it's going to take that brightness and just combine the two. That's all linear dodge is going to do. Now that said, I kind of just jumped straight on to the next one when I moved by, so let's just go ahead and take a look at that. Obviously, as I mentioned, this is going to take the brightness value, and when I say that, I literally mean the brightness value here inside the color picker. So you have, HSB, so this is your brightness value. Not B for blue, but B for brightness. It's going to combine the two, and you'll end up with a lighter result, where again, color dodge is just changing that contrast. Finally, we have lighter color, and this is kind of like our switch statement that we saw with darker color, where darker color would choose between the two colors being your blend and your base, and it would just select whichever color was darker and show that. Lighter color does exactly the opposite. It selects whichever color is lighter, and it shows that and not the other. So in this case, you can see that our dark color, our dark blue, has not been selected because it's not lighter, but our green is lighter than the red, so it actually gets selected. Again, it's kind of like a binary switch. So there's a quick rundown between lighten, screen, color dodge, linear dodge, and lighter color. I do want to mention this. In just about all of these, it's especially important for linear dodge and screen, black is going to be a pretty useless color. Because again, you got to remember, like in the case of linear dodge, you're just combining your brightnesses. And can you guess what the brightness of black happens to be? If you guessed 0, you guessed very well. And adding 0 to anything gives you no result. So if we switch to normal, you can see that we do have all these black smudges everywhere. But if we switch it again back over to linear dodge mode, it's like adding 0, so we get no result. So I think with that, that covers everything I wanted to discuss here. Again, it's kind of a short video, but just discussing these 5 blend modes, which are generally here to lighten your overall result. That will wrap things up for this video. Thanks a lot.